With Sean Diddy Combs awaiting trial on several sex trafficking and abuse charges, Kanye West is hoping to capitalize on his bond with President Trump. The 24-time Grammy winner came to Diddy's defense Thursday on social media, appealing for Trump to pardon the rapper ahead of his trial, which is planned for May 5th after he has pled not guilty and been denied bail 3 times. West scribbled, "Free Puff" on X after backing Trump in the 2016 election. The Yeezy mogul added in another post, "Real Donald Trump, please free my brother." Puff, in his profane diatribe, West called out fellow celebs who watched our brother rot after Trump pardoned almost 1,500 defendants on January 6. The first day of his second administration, Combs was arrested by the NYPD on September 16 in a Big Apple hotel lobby and charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. The heavily lawyered trial of Combs, who is already in jail and has been denied bail multiple times, is scheduled to begin on May 5th. If proven guilty, he faces life in prison. The 55-year-old 3-time Grammy winner, better known as Puff Daddy, Puffy, and P. Diddy, has 10 top 10 solo singles, 3 of which are numbered 1. He is also facing dozens of additional sexual assault charges in federal and state court, including one with Jay-Z as a co-defendant among the 40 or so individuals, female and male, who claim Combs raped and abused them. There are numerous kids, including a 10-year-old boy. Updated with new information, Sean Diddy Combs will face a jury of his peers. In less than a year, if found guilty, he faces life in prison. In a hearing today in Manhattan, Judge Arun Subramanian informed the music mogul, his defense team, his mother, children, and prosecutors that Combs' sex trafficking trial will commence on May 5th, 2025. The date is consistent with what Combs' lawyers said earlier this week in a federal court filing. Combs has been in federal detention since September 16, when authorities detained him in the foyer of NYC's Park Hyatt Hotel. Combs and his counsel had known for several days that a grand jury indictment and arrest were imminent, which is why the performer had gone from his principal residence in Miami to New York. However, they had planned to engineer a surrender via their own timeline, which certainly did not occur after months of civil litigation by coastal Homeland Security searches and investigations by many law enforcement agencies. A federal grand jury indicted the founder of Bad Boy Records in September on counts of involuntary sex trafficking, prostitute transportation, and racketeering conspiracy. Combs was carried into court Thursday in leg shackles, wearing a light button-down collared shirt untucked and gray jeans. He grinned heartily at his mother and children before settling down with his attorney. At the end of the roughly 30-minute session, as the courtroom was cleared of most spectators and press, Combs stood and took multiple bows, hands clasped, to family members who were permitted to remain inside. Last month, Combs entered a not guilty plea. Today, prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office informed Judge Subramanian Combs and those in attendance that a superseding indictment could be on the way that implies that a current charge against Combs may be dropped or replaced, or that entirely new charges may emerge from the ongoing investigation. The government claims that Combs and his associates pressured women into marathon sexual sessions with male prostitutes, known as freak-offs, and that the women were alternately drugged, threatened with assault, and physically barred from leaving the hotel rooms where freak-offs were staged. According to the accusation, a number of these encounters were filmed and presumably used to blackmail or silence participants. Combs is presently challenging the repeated refusal of bail, which has held him imprisoned at the notoriously harsh Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, offering a $50 million bond, house detention, and additional counsel. The worry that Combs may commit witness tampering if released is speculative after failing twice to get their client out of jail, a new arm of the rapper's defense team filed an appeal earlier this week, hoping that a third attempt will result in Combs' pretrial release at the same time. And in keeping with the timing of today's hearing, Combs' lawyers are attacking U.S. Attorney Damian Williams' case by calling for a judicial hearing on October 9th into unlawful government leaks by the Department of Homeland Security, which they claim were intended to smear Combs ahead of a potential trial. CNN's video of Combs brutalizing a former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel corridor in Los Angeles in 2016 serves as Exhibit A for their charges. The videotape was leaked to CNN for one reason alone: to mortally wound Sean Combs' reputation and the prospect of him successfully defending himself against these allegations, Combs' lawyer said in a letter before Judge Subramanian on Wednesday. They are demanding an evidentiary hearing in the case, with the vivid video evidence either withheld or the accusations removed. However, it appears that they may be barking up the wrong tree or searching for a distraction, the SDNY U.S. Attorney's Office wrote to the judge late Wednesday, claiming they had nothing to do with CNN receiving that heinous security film. In fact, the prosecutors supplied a copy of an email they wrote to Combs' lawyers, Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, on October 9th. To be clear, to our understanding, DHS did not have possession of the videotape prior to CNN's publication of it, wrote Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson in an email at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Only the government has authorization to get grand jury information, and the footage broadcast by CNN was not acquired through the grand jury procedure less than 24 hours after Ventura filed a lawsuit against Combs in late November 2023, claiming abuse, rape, and other allegations. The self-proclaimed billionaire reportedly paid her almost $30 million to settle her case. Despite the compensation, Combs continued to deny mistreating Ventura. When the 2016 video became public in May of this year, Combs promptly apologized and professed to be ashamed of himself. Ventura's lawyers and many others reacted negatively to the apologies. Since Ventura's brief legal action late last year, 5 other women and a producer on the All About the Benjamin Singer's most recent album have filed civil lawsuits accusing Combs of abusing, drugging, threatening, and sexually assaulting them, along with the announcement of a trial start date and other documents by the feds. Lawyers today spent part of the hearing addressing a potential gag order on both sides to restrict case leaks by the government and any statements from the defense that might interfere with the conduct of a fair trial. Judge Subramanian said he'll issue a reciprocal ruling binding both parties after studying a proposed draft from defense counsel Agnifilo. Assistant U.S. Attorney Johnson initially opposed the order, calling Agnifilo's application for one, baseless, and a means to try to exclude a damning piece of evidence, referring to the now public video of Combs assaulting Ventura. With considerable urging from the judge, Johnson later agreed to a gag order as long as it also applied to the defense. Johnson noted Agnifilo's remarks to TMZ this week, in which he called the government's case a racist prosecution, according to a transcript of the TMZ interview. Johnson stated that permitting such claims from the defense would seriously risk a fair trial and integrity of this proceeding. The court stated that he will not rule on the defense's demand for an evidentiary hearing into alleged government leaks until he has examined all filings and responses, which are due by November 7th. Prosecutor Johnson stated that the government's forensic technology experts are currently retrieving terabytes of data from the 96 electronic devices seized in raids and during Combs' arrest, which include phones, computers, and hard drives. The assistant U.S. attorney also stated that she expects prosecutors to give over all extracted data required under the discovery process to the defense by the judge's discovery deadline of December 31st. The next hearing in Combs' case is scheduled for December 18th, but this date may change depending on the appeals procedure that is now underway.